Thank you, Cynthia.
Hey, soul survivors. We are back with Dave, and he has started telling us his journey, his story about some of the abuse that he has been through. And Dave, you and I were talking earlier, and there's certain verbiage, certain things that a narcissist will say. A lot of us are like, is our partner a narcissist? Am I the narcissist? What were some things that you encountered that they would say?
So, it's interesting when, I didn't directly call her a narcissist to her face. However, she had found my GoFundMe page. This was a month or two ago.
And this GoFundMe page is for legal work for.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He's
That's right.
in
In
a
that
marriage
GoFundMe page.
that's dissolving, and there's children involved, and a special circumstance, which we talked about in the previous video. So
Yeah.
what did she say when you
Well, she read it, and she was just, why didn't you include anything about you?
in the
And I,
GoFundMe?
yeah. And I said, well, okay, number one, I did. Actually, that was the first paragraph, how my demons are my demons. Second, this is mine. If you want to make one, then freaking make one. Okay. Or number three, counter this one and you tell me where I'm wrong. I said, but there isn't one single damn thing that is not true in that. I'm sorry. And then she jumped to, well, okay, well, we're all narcissists. We all are narcissists. We all have narcissistic traits.
She is
And I'm
correct. We
like,
all do to some extent.
and I said, you know what? You're absolutely right. I said, but look, there is a difference between somebody with narcissistic traits and somebody who is a freaking narcissist. I mean, for example, generally, not always, but let me just use the premise as it is always, even though it's mostly just general.
I know it's hard not to say always or never.
Right. So for the most part, narcissists cheat, but empaths do too. I got that. But here's the thing. Like, for example, now let me preface it with this. Let me preface that with this. I'm actually a member of a narcissistic recovery group. And there's 26 of us, and I am the only man in the whole group. And so I am, sitting there like, I feel really uncomfortable. And the reason why I feel uncomfortable is not because I'm intimidated, but it's because I don't want you to feel intimidated, because your abusers are males.
Do the women act a little skittish around you?
No, they were so loving and caring and accepting, because they knew my story going in.
And that's the thing too, though, with men, a lot of times, you feel afraid to cry, or you have to be the tough man, or you.
And I was crying. Oh man, this was new in it, and oh yeah, I was.
Well, we have a lot to talk about real quick. I'm going to have you let them know your GoFundMe. I normally don't allow people to share this GoFundMe stuff, but his story is legit. I've watched him for a long time, known him, and it's pretty traumatic. So go ahead and share that, and then we'll continue on with your story. And you guys are feel free to donate or watch a few more of these podcasts that we'll have. He'll continue on with his story. He also is an attorney who is thinking about trying to get a bill passed to have acts of narcissism become illegal. And we talked
absolutely
about IED, intentional infliction of emotional distress, because so many people are hurt. So go ahead and share that for us.
Okay, so my I think the easiest way to do it here, to find it, is like, well, we can go to GoFundMe, and then I can give you I will, don't worry, give you the exact numbers for it. But what's important is that I have a TikTok. I don't use social media, but I have a TikTok page. And my TikTok page is called "A Man Can Be a Victim Too." That's what it's called. easy to remember. A man can be a victim too, no spaces between anything. Just a man can be a victim too.
That might be a
And
good way to get them to get your number.
then right at the top, it has my GoFundMe page right
Okay,
there. That's
perfect.
where it's at.
And
So
that's on
um,
TikTok.
I
Excellent.
think that
That's the best way to do it. I agree.
okay.
So
I think that is because people know TikTok, just the handle. It's easy to remember. A man can be a victim too. They'll see it,
perfect.
and
And then
that's
you'll
how they
get
can
to
do
see,
that.
they'll also get to see some of your story.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Look
you
through the
are very
stories and see if
passionate,
you
very
feel.
emotional.
Yeah.
So, moving forward though, so what are some other things that she would say?
So okay, when we were talking about when she discovered my GoFundMe page, and she got after me for it. She started, oh, I know all about gaslighting, and I know all about this, that, and the other, but we are all narcissists. You can't tell me that you're not a narcissist, and then that's when I had to sit there and say, look, yeah, we all have narcissistic traits. That is nature. In fact, every human being screws up, right?
Right.
Every. There is not one narcissist, empath, or anybody in between that doesn't screw up. The difference, though, between a narcissist and a person who has done something that is an element of narcissism is, how does that person feel about what they did? The
Yeah.
person who's a narcissist
And
will
also
not
the
stop.
intent, the
They won't
intent.
stop. They are not sorry. They blame you for it, and they don't think they're doing anything wrong. Okay, so that is a narcissist.
Right.
Now, somebody who, on the other hand, is an empath or whatever and screws up, if they feel bad about it, they try to stop, they work hard, they are in therapy, they are trying to get over that crap, and they're doing their best, then they are not narcissist,
And they're
because
trying to
narcissists do
connect,
not
trying to
go to
communicate.
therapy.
Yeah. And the connection though with the silent treatment and the ghosting and
Oh yeah.
now your person, your wife, you're still currently married. How long have you been married?
23 years.
23 years. And how long has it been bad out of those 23 years?
um um Sorry, I thought I heard something out there. Let's see. About 12.
About 12. Pretty
Yeah.
much half your marriage. And what was the turning point? How old's your oldest daughter?
So my turning point was when I discovered that she cheated. I had no idea she would. I didn't know that somebody I loved and
Right.
would never actually betrayed me, and that shattered me.
And
I was thinking,
it starts causing you to act different too.
oh,
And
absolutely. I spiraled into a deep depression. I couldn't do anything.
what were the
I
warning signs? Were there any warning signs or how did you find out?
So with those, and that was the one where that was the one with my boss, and so with that one, um I was, I looked at phone records and I saw that something wasn't right, and stuff like that, and then I remember also kind of following them and watching them walk into 50 shades grayer or 50 shades darker, that perv movie or whatever from
50
back
Shades of Grey.
yeah, whatever, from 6 years ago, whatever it was, and I'm like, holy shit, this is, it's just ridiculous, how insane, and it's just one of those things where I almost stopped responding, because I knew if I just said, what I saw today, oh man, I would get it. I would be kicked out of the house. I'd have the cops called on me because that's what she does. I
Right.
mean, for harassing her. It's just anytime a boundary I set to say, no, you don't do this. Oh, F you, I'll do what I want. what I have learned, and this is very important too, what I have learned is if somebody who is not a narcissist
Right.
does something in front of a narcissist that is bad, okay, or questionable, that's a problem.
Right.
If they do it in front of the narcissist is like, I got you now,
Mm-hmm.
because I just received an irrevocable, irreplaceable, unlimited license to do whatever the fuck I want. There is nothing you can stop me, and I have all justification to do it because of what you did
And
20
sometimes we
years ago.
don't even know what it is.
Well,
Sometimes it's straight up, but there's times, like, oh my gosh, honey, I'm sorry, I was late. I got caught up at the grocery store. And all of a sudden you make dinner and now they're not talking to you and they can't communicate. And now yeah, every little thing is going to be a big deal.
yeah,
And it gets tiring walking on those eggshells, being afraid to speak up, knowing that your boundaries are not going to be
they're not going to be
honored.
honored.
And as time goes by, we start thinking like, why didn't I see this, or why did I stay? I know you and I have talked about it, where sometimes it's like, nobody's going to believe my reasons for staying. And what were your reasons for staying?
Trauma bonding my children, and that type of a thing. I mean, also we live in a beautiful house, and that we got back in 09 when the interest rates were way down, when we got it for pennies on the dollar.
Right.
If we tried selling the house now, for example, yeah, sure, we would get 4 times the amount we paid for it, but
You'd be
where
paying
would we
6
where,
times for a new place.
yeah, where are we going to live? Screw that. I'm not, no, we're sitting on a gold mine that we admit can't mine right now. But I'm not going to give up this asset. Also, we can go move into half the size of the of a rental house and pay twice the amount we were paying on our mortgage. That's
So
just
now
retarded.
you're thinking about divorcing her, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, which we've been separated for years, but as far as, I mean, it's a big house, so we,
Separated the
yeah,
space.
we're not even really interactive in any way.
So what's it
Um,
like living with her now?
we don't see each other much. We're cordial when there's issues or talking and stuff like that. But the second she gets mad, she'll call the police. And and I'm not kidding. The police for everything. And let me give an example. If I've already said this, forgive me, but let me just reiterate. So yeah, a few weeks ago, I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but forgive me if I did. I'm going to say it again anyway. So we send boxes to Tonga. Did I mention that?
I think, and this is why you might be getting confused. I believe we talked about that before the podcast. You mentioned the smashed vehicle where you asked him not to arrest her, but I don't think you mentioned
Oh,
the
okay.
boxes.
Yeah. So we talked about a smashed vehicle, and that's different. So here's what happened. So my wife was out with her lover, okay, one night, and I was home alone watching the children, right? One of them, again, is not my biological child, but regardless, she's mine because I love her and I've chosen that life.
She's
That
also
life.
you're also on the birth certificate, correct?
Yes, indeed. And I'm happily raising that precious little girl because she's
She's
an angel and
adorable.
it's not her fault. And I love her. And now, so anyway, I learned though that so to send to Tonga, you can send boxes that are 8 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet.
Okay.
And you fill them with anything, no weight limit. So that's what we do. So, once or twice a year, what we have done anyway. And the thing is, in the shipping company had my number on record.
Okay.
And so not long before we shipped the box, they called me and they're like, hey, Mr. Fisher, we know you guys have a box that you're ready to send. can you, we just want to make sure when, and I was thinking in my mind, I was thinking, why are you calling me? But I also was like, haha, opportunity.
Right.
So just let's see what she has up her sleeve this time. So I said, oh, can you remind me again of who the recipients are? Just so, you know, and so anyway, I found out certainly one of the recipients is her sister in Tonga,
Okay.
which yes, that's fine. But then
Where
the
is that? I
other
don't know where that is.
Tonga, South Pacific, Samoa, south of the equator, near
Okay.
Fiji, about
Okay.
1,500 miles northeast of New Zealand, type of thing.
Okay. So you find out one's her sister. Who's the other?
So here's what I found out. The other name they gave me was the name of the sister of the piece of shit that she's been having an affair with.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, F no, we are not sending. If one grain of rice goes to that worthless piece of shit's family in Tonga, that box is not leaving my garage. My boundary, try crossing it, watch what happens.
What was in it?
Oh, just goodies, nothing of value other than food, really. I mean,
Okay.
there was some like a
Like
step
a
ladder
care
that was
package
new.
kind of thing.
Yeah, care package, but just tons of food, and stuff like that. I mean, each box, let's put it this way, each box is worth about $20,000. I mean, there's so much in it, more than you can imagine.
Why would you be doing that anyways? Is her sister in dire straits or something? Or
You know, yeah,
I
because
can
they
give you
live in
I'll give you
Tonga.
my address publicly right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, see, they live in Tonga and they live poor and everything. And I've always been, just trying to be kind-hearted. I'm like, yes, I love your family. I help your family. And I said, but if I find out that one grain of rice is going to that piece of shit's sister, the one you've been sleeping with, you really think I'm going to let myself, you really think I'm going to pay for shit for him?
Because you're the only
You
one
know?
paying the bills too,
and
correct?
and um and so anyway, she was not home at the time. She was actually out with that lover, and so anyway, um again, I said, fine, you know what, I'm pulling shit out of this box because it hasn't been sealed yet and we haven't sent it yet. I said,
Right.
I'm pulling shit out of this box. We're not sending it until you confirm to me that that piece of shit is not a recipient. So what she did, like she does every time I set a boundary, she called the cops. So the damn cops come to my house again. And I'm not kidding. That is the
What did she
12th
say to
time.
them? You will let me send this?
That is the 12th time this year.
Oh, this year.
Yeah, the 12th time cops came this year, and
What have the cops done about it?
they are pissed. They're all, you're the only one home, Dave? I'm like, yeah. Um, what's the crime here? And I'm like, there isn't one. She's a liar. I want her prosecuted for violence. I said, I do know what's a class A
Defamation of
misdemeanor.
character too, though.
I mean, what's that?
Can that go towards defamation of character? Because I know she's not verbally, well, she's telling the cops that, but like if you, as an attorney, were to go get a job, just like my stuff, my degrees in criminal justice, I was a juvenile probation officer, but trying to get a job as a cop, I had to postpone that. And my ex would call the cops all the time too. And they do that, not because you actually did something criminal. They just want to control you. I couldn't
Yes.
I couldn't have a gun because of personal protection orders. I was 100 pounds lighter than him. He could bench 550 pounds. I can't
You
even
weren't
really
allowed
do
to have a gun?
not when I had a personal protection order. I couldn't go to a bar. Like I don't drink, but I could not go to a bar. So if you wanted to take me out for my birthday and take me to Applebee's,
Yeah.
you might have a beer and I don't, but that's a restaurant that serves alcohol. I couldn't go there. And that's, I wasn't a drinker, but I couldn't even go into those establishments. So, try dating, trying to be a grown up, not that I wanted to drink, but I couldn't go hang out with my female friends to go dancing and just have fun because I wasn't a drinker anyways. So I can't even go dancing.
Yeah, I understand. See, and for me, I've never touched a drop of alcohol in my life. And the reason why is because, I mean, yes, it's religious. I got that, but also I have alcoholism runs in my family, and I
Okay.
know damn well if I tried it, I'd love it, and I'd be an alcoholic. I don't need that shit in my life. I got
You're
enough troubles.
smart. And a lot more people need to realize that sometimes it's easier to get addictive if you had that genetic trail.
Oh, definitely, because I do have that genetic trait. My grandfather on both sides, and uncles and cousins and shit, and my mom. It's just
I
not
give you a
touching
lot
it.
of credit. Some people risk it. They think they're better than they can overcome it or whatever. So you were just smart. Like it's not even worth risking. Good for
Well,
you.
I overcame that demon though by replacing the demon by overusing prescription medications like an idiot. So I'd get myself out of stressful situations by taking too many Xanax, like a moron. And I am responsible for that. I don't blame her for it. It was a stressful situation, yes, but I'm responsible for my
Yeah.
reactions.
Yeah.
It's not her fault. It's my fault.
And
You, you know,
looking back, did it make your situation harder when you were
oh,
addicted to Xanax?
oh, absolutely. Because like I mentioned earlier, what is the worst thing you can do in front of a narcissist? Do something wrong.
Yeah.
And that gives them an irrevocable, unlimited license to do any shit they want, to a point to where all they have to do when you call them out on it, well, do you remember when you did this?
Yeah. You can't talk about anything. You can't go, sweetheart. I asked you to take out the garbage. It's like, whoa, wait, I did what? Like 13 years ago, I did what? They'll have the toothpaste. Like, I'm just trying to talk about the garbage.
Yeah,
God, it's like never ending.
exactly. So that's what I'm, yeah,
But they can't remember. I mean, some can, but it's like you don't remember the anniversary or my birthday, but you can remember at this time on this date, 18 years ago. It'd drive me crazy.
yeah. Yeah, and then yeah, like let's see, where was I too? When
So we were talking about the Xanax and the alcohol. And so as far as the police coming, so 12 times,
yeah,
and
they got so
they
pissed saying, next time we're coming to arrest her because this is a false report and we're getting sicker than shit about this, you know.
did. Is it the same
And
cops usually?
what's that?
Is it the same police officers?
Yeah, because this one cop, good man, he's like, I want that one. So I know Dave, and stuff like that. And so he comes over and and I'm like, officer, this is mine in here just as much as it's hers. I
Right.
didn't touch a fucking thing out of here, but if I wanted to, I can and I will.
Yeah, you
I
could.
just, and he's like, yeah, there's no crime here, Dave. Oh, for her to call you, oh my gosh,
And
this
I had
is
asked you too, that you're the only one paying the bill. So basically, that food, that's out of the kindness of your heart to send to her sister.
yeah,
Correct?
exactly.
Does she get any financial assistance any way other than
No, she spends a lot of time at the casino and says she makes money, but I don't know,
but that's your money she's spending, correct? Or is it her?
yeah.
Okay.
So mine's the seed money, even if she does make money.
Would you say
Um,
that she has a gambling addiction too?
oh yeah.
And a
She
lot of narcissists have addictions, whether it's porn or gambling or smoking weed or drinking too much, whatever it is. Most of them do have some type of addiction.
yeah, and and kind of back to towards something I said a little bit earlier too. Um, uh, you know, the, there are, and my wife was trying to argue this, well, all people have narcissistic traits, and I'm like, my follow-up to that was, yeah, but not all people are narcissists, and not all people, I mean, that doesn't make everybody a narcissist.
Right.
Do I have narcissism? Of course.
Right.
Here's the difference though. When I screw up, I feel like shit, and I try to stop and I pray, and I go to my ecclesiastical leader at church, tell him what I've done. Please forgive me. I ask Christ to forgive me, and I go to therapy.
Right.
And,
And
and I
sometimes
mean, I,
too, though, sometimes too, narcissism isn't always bad. So let's say you were my brother. You and I are living together to save money. And I'm like, look, you know, I need to finish my career. I got accepted to Yale. You know, let's just wait 6 months. We'll get caught up on bills. We'll break our separate ways. And you're like, please stay, help me pay the bills. And I'm like, I have to do this for me. So I'm being kind of selfish, but there is times that it's okay. Like we have to live our lives too. And there's also the difference between the commitment. Do we commit to life together? No, you're just my brother at that time, which he's Dave. I should probably clarify you're not my brother, but you probably could. People are probably like, maybe.
brother in spirit, in my
There
opinion.
you go. There you go. But do you know what I'm saying? There are times where I could sit here and go, but my brother, and oh, I don't want to break his heart. And we got to understand where that balance comes in. Now, if you were my husband, we should really talk about it. You know, that where do we go in this marriage now? You know, because that's a different kind of commitment. So also depends on what the relationship is. Are you my boss? Well, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go to follow my career, you know.
Right. And what was interesting too is when she was talking about the everybody's a narcissist type of shit, and then me going back to no, everybody does narcissistic traits because that's human nature, and if you do something wrong in the presence of a narcissist, they will capitalize on that forever. For example, now I've been married 23 years. I was, the first 2 years of my marriage, when I was working over in Hawaii, I was the manager for a modeling company of gorgeous 18 plus old models that were, standing for guests and everything like that. And they were sexy,
Right.
And actually, so was my wife. She was there, but I wanted to marry all of them, but could only marry one, and I I married her, but I the girls though were always very flirtatious with me, and I was not flirtatious, but I was nice, probably nicer than I should have been.
And people can misconstrue
Yes,
that.
such as my wife. In fact, there was one time, and this is a huge thing for her. There was one time where in my office, one of the models named Lonnie was in a fight with one of the other models. And so Lonnie came into my office and shut the door. And instead of sitting on the desk, on the chair in front of my desk, she sat on my desk facing not towards me, away from me.
Oh.
Which isn't appropriate. I got that, but she wasn't facing me. She's facing away from me. And I was kind of sitting back like this while she was, kind of too shameful to look at me in the face, but she was, upset. Well, and there was nothing about it as far as her trying to hit on me type of a thing, or whatever. But at that time, my wife walked into that office. Why is Lonnie sitting on your desk? Oh, this is bullshit. You're flirting with her. Are you fucking her? And that's what. And so I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. In fact, I never with any of those girls. And again, I'm not tooting my own horn, but they wanted to. They didn't care. They
part of it too is you are in the position to bring them their dream of being.
Yeah, and they came and offered things, and I just refused, and stuff. And I'm just saying, and they were hotties, Polynesian girls. Oh wow, but these hands never touched another woman. I never texted anybody else. These lips have never touched another woman except for my wife since I've been married. Even
you
before
said you married her as a virgin too, correct?
Yeah, I was a virgin when I got married because I was I'm going to hold myself for
Now,
her,
can I ask you something? I know you've talked about going to church and being with only one woman. Do you think you're a little afraid? Is that another reason you stayed a little afraid to, for one, break the vows
Yeah.
because you are religious?
I don't want to go
And
to hell. Is that what you meant?
let's talk about that. How do you feel about that? Because I've seen different things like, and I think we touched on it, if not my mind did, where you have this contract and the contract is witnessed by God.
Yeah,
But
it's a
there's
three-way
a
covenant.
break in that contract. So the contract, is it nullified? Because a lot of us are like, I promised God. Yes, you promised God, but that contract was broken. So is
Yeah.
that, and that's just the only legal loophole. And then I see other things too. There was this one, I was like, oh my gosh, because I'll be honest, I had a child out of wedlock. And they even had certain things like where, let's say a man and woman were like living in sin, as they call it, and then decide to get married. But because they already lived in sin, that union would not be, I don't know, they had this whole thing on whether or not you'd go to heaven and things like that. I see it, before you continue, is it's a break in the contract to love, honor, cherish. So if my husband, which I don't have, but if I was married, was threatening to kill me every night, am I obligated under God to stay there, or is he not loving and cherishing me? Is that break in the contract that allows me to leave to keep me safe?
Yeah, I understand. And now, yeah, in the church and in the in the Bible, I'm a Mormon. Don't judge me for it, but I am, and both the Bible and the Book of Mormon talk about adultery, and and the penalties for it, and I'm scared to death to. And yeah, call me religious fear, make fun of me for it. I don't mind, but for me, I just refuse to, even though she cheated on me and that kind of nullifies things. I'm technically still legally married to her. So if I go out in
Well,
a
right now
revenge
you
way,
are. Yeah.
then that's adultery too. And I just, even if I'm more excused for it, so to speak, I just won't do it because I made the covenant as a kid that I will not have sex with a woman unless I'm married to her. And that's just me. I'm not better than anybody else. It's just me.
Right.
It's just my morals. And I haven't had sex in 3 years, I'll be honest, because I don't have sex with my wife. And is it tough? Yeah. And some people are, well, and I don't want this to come off wrong, but do I want to have sex again? Of course, with a
Right.
married woman. With the woman with whom I'm married. And I don't mean that in a dirty way. I
Right.
mean
Oh,
that because
sex.
intimacy is beautiful.
Yeah.
Intimacy is beautiful. I want somebody to touch me, to love me.
And you deserve that, you know?
I really, I really want somebody who wants me to touch her, and we could have a beautiful time, and not a dirty time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Anyways, but I'm patiently waiting and praying that God will bless me with somebody, um, and I have faith that he will, it's just, I've got to get out of this first,
Right.
you know, it, that's really what I've got to do. There, one other thing, um, when a few years ago, um, after I've discovered my wife had a few affairs, she's since had more. But it was like 3 years ago or something where, but we were coherently, respectfully talking with each other.
Okay.
And I said, and so the preface was, I did not leave you when I found out you cheated on me.
Right.
And I didn't freak the hell out, and I didn't kick you out. These things. And I'm not better than anybody. It's just, I decided I got to forgive, And so, but I decided to ask her a question. I asked her, how would you feel if the situation was reversed, where
Mm,
I was the one
right.
that cheated on you with your best friends, or friends of yours?
Yeah, because it wasn't even just cheating, it was your boss and your best friend and your attorney.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was. And her immediate answer, she didn't have to think about it. Her immediate answer was this: I already know that feeling. Remember when Lonnie sat on your desk?
Oh, really? Now, is that when this started?
Yeah, that this was like a year after we got married, so 18 years prior.
Okay, so I don't know. I was asking if that was like her ticket to cheat, where it's like,
Well, yeah,
oh,
like I said, when you do something wrong in front of a narcissist, they have an unlimited, you know, uh, irrevocable license to do whatever the hell they want, and sometimes they don't start utilizing that license until
yeah,
years later.
right,
And
right.
so when she said that to me, I said, "Are you kidding? You're telling me that a girl sitting on my desk that wasn't even in a provocative or sexual way, whom I never touched at all, nor kissed, nor anything, you're telling me that's the same as what you did? Oh,
Wow.
fuck that." I was
Oh,
pissed.
I bet.
And I stormed out of the house. And in a rare uh uh in a rare expression of understanding, she texted me a, "Okay, you're right, I understand what I did is a lot worse than what you did," you
Okay.
know.
And that's the thing though, is so I'm not
Mhm.
saying she actually has narcissistic personality disorder, because I'm not a therapist. I am certified to teach psychology, but there are times that they can see. I had one say, yeah, I was not very nice to you. There are times that they can
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the thing too, is like, are they oblivious? No, they know a lot of the things that they do are wrong, and they know a lot of the things are hurtful. Other times too, they're like, what? Like there are times they don't get it. They do
Nor
not
care.
legit or
But
care.
yeah, and so I'll say that there are a few in the times we've been married, my wife has apologized twice.
And what were those for?
It is for, like, one I still have them saved on my phone. Look, I know I caused you pain by doing this, and she specified, you know, and then she said that again a few years prior, too, and it just made me cry, because I remember the first time I got that text, I was like, this is the first time she has ever apologized to me
Did she
for.
change her actions?
I thought that's what it meant, you
Right.
know, and no, it was just to placate me, I assume, you know, or
Was
something
she
like.
in therapy at that time?
Oh man, she does not go to therapy.
Okay.
She doesn't need it, right?
All
Narcissists don't.
right.
Yeah, and one other thing, and let me jump back real fast, and then and I know we're about or whatever. Anyway, but when I was talking about how I was a member of that narcissistic abuse recovery group, and I'm the only man out of, what was it, 20 something anyway, and and it felt intimidating, because I'm like, I'm the only man here. You all are women, and I just don't want you to feel scared that I'm here, or that I have some ulterior motive or motive, and stuff
Right.
like that.
Like
And
picking up on the vulnerable.
right. I made it clear. I wanted to speak first, and I made that clear, and they just accepted me and everything like that. And I talked. There was one, so an element, well, maybe a factor, but an element of a narcissist is cheating. They don't always do it, but
Right.
it is a very common factor.
Or
An element is
emotional
a
cheating sometimes
guarantee.
too.
A factor is something that often happens. Well, but however, one of these girls, the wonderful, wonderful woman, who who whose husband was having an affair, who was a narcissist. Her husband was a narcissist. She was a victim. she decided, and she realized it was stupid, but she decided, I'm going to go out and have a revenge lay too then. He's
Right.
been having an affair for 2 years. I'm going to go screw a guy one night stand. And now, is that a narcissistic trait? Well, sure, but it
Right.
wasn't for narcissistic purposes. Now, but after she did that, she felt so sick about it. She
Right.
said she tried to kill herself, and she went into therapy for 4 days to go in there to get her head straight. And then she came back and apologized profusely. Never happened again or whatever. She just was vulnerable and didn't know what to do and everything like that. Now, does the narcissist, after their 2 years of cheating, come back and say, oh, I'm sorry too?
Right.
No, the narcissist said, see, you think that you're better than me. You're just like me. You think I'm a narcissist. So are you. No,
Right.
no, 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 no. Narcissists will never admit they've done anything wrong. They justify it. They clear themselves. They have reasons for it. They deny it. They project blame. They say it's your fault that you do it. But
Right.
sorry is something that'll only happen if it fits those elements, I think.
Now, I
Uh,
want to ask you, you had a pretty predominant career. Did she feel threatened that you were an attorney, or do you think that she utilized you for money? Was there any, because that's kind of high status. Do you think that had any part in your relationship?
all the above, really. But here's the thing. She really destroyed, I guess I could say, let me give myself some, we're all responsible for our reactions just as much as we are our own actions.
Correct.
When I discovered that she was cheating on me, I couldn't help it. I thought that I went into a deep spiral depression. I had no idea that my best friend could do this to me, because the person she slept with was my boss, who was also my best friend.
So you
And
lost two
so,
people, like
yeah,
their hearts and connections to you. Yeah.
I couldn't function at work. I was humiliated. Everybody knew that's all I could think about. It was tough, and so anyway, it ended up destroying my career. I was forced to resign there just about 6 months later, and I couldn't, I just couldn't work there anymore. And it was so hard. Had she not done that, in fact, when I was in my final interview with them, they told me, you did not handle that correctly.
What, the
About,
cheating part?
yeah, that your wife cheating with the boss. You did not respond correctly. That's what they told me.
What do they want you to do? Just go
I
about
don't
it?
know. They didn't say. They just
You
said
were
that you did
probably
not.
emotional and they saw that as unprofessional, unfortunately.
Yeah,
You're human, you're not a robot.
yeah, exactly. I just that's so I mean, and I know I'm responsible for my reactions, but I do know this. Had she not cheated there, I would still be working there. That's what I do know, because I was doing awesome until I discovered that. And then I spiraled and I tried, but I was in therapy, taking medication, trying, and stuff like that. But um, it just wasn't enough. It just really knocked me to hell, knocked me down. And so again, I know I'm partially responsible for that, but had she not, I would still be working there. And
Yeah,
that job
she
was,
pulled the rug out from under you and it's like,
oh,
whoa, you want me to get my bearings, and that's hard to do. You're gonna,
absolutely. So I lost everything there, and it was, oh,
and that's what's so crazy though, is they hurt themselves when they do that. That was her meal ticket.
yeah. But then she said, "You hurt me." Oh, and then she said, "You go and get your boss fired. He has a family. He has a family. You got him fired. What about his kids? What about his family?" I'm like,
What about me
"What
and
about our fucking
our, not
our
my, our, yeah.
yeah?" I just could not believe that was her concern. His family.
How
You
long
know,
were
it just
they kicking it? How long were they even together? Was it just like a 2-month fling and they risked
well,
the whole family, or?
she admitted to me that she had sex with him 26 times. And I don't know how long, if that was 2-3 months, but I mean, that's a lot.
It's kind of interesting. That's kind of an odd number to keep track of.
I don't know why she told me that number, but she did, and I just, because I was thinking maybe once or twice or whatever.
Right.
And that's what I said. I said, was it just like once or twice? She goes, oh no, it was 26. Okay,
Hmm.
I didn't even know that,
Right.
and so anyway, but that's what it is. So I mean, yeah, the difference between a narcissist and a person with narcissistic traits is narcissistic trait people acknowledge they did something wrong, try to fix it, apologize, go to therapy, and hope that they can get better. People that are narcissists do those same things, but they like, oh, it's okay because you did that, or it's your
Right.
fault I've done that, and they don't go to therapy and they don't give a shit. You know, that's
Now her and her sister, I'm assuming, were raised by the same parents or parent. What are the
well,
sisters like? Are they similar or completely
no,
different?
she is she's the one so okay, here's the thing. uh she has 4 siblings, all to different fathers. Her
Okay.
mom was a, and this is sad because
Friendly.
yeah, her mother slept with different men, got pregnant to different to different men, and so all of her sisters are half sisters.
Okay.
And she told me when we were just dating, she goes, when I was little, I used to stand up in the mango tree down in Tonga. I stand up in the mango tree and yell to the village, my mom's a whore. She was just out fucking these guys. I don't, that's all she does. Forget it. Oh, I will never be like her, ever be like her. And I was just thinking, good for you. Good for you.
Right.
You change your life around. And then when this happens, I approached her carefully. I said, do you remember how many times, because it was more than once, you remember how many times you told me how embarrassed you were of your mother for doing what she did? But actually, I'm sorry to say you've done worse than your mother, because your mother was never married and she never betrayed a man. She would
There's a
just go to
difference.
different
Yeah.
men. She wasn't married to one of them and then banged others. No, no, no. She never got married. And she kicked me out and called the police for daring to bring that up. And got just got so angry at me for, they can't stand the truth. Uh, and it's so, but that's, again, that's the way she is. And then she had, after that, and I have it on, because when I speak with her and things that could be confrontational, I will press the record button, just because I want to make sure that if there's ever a question, I can show I'm being respectful,
Hmm.
she's being the bitch. And I'm just saying, because I have been
In court,
accused
that you
of
should
that.
document everything, unfortunately,
Yeah,
because it
unfortunately.
does get down to that.
It will, yeah, if I ever have to use it, I will. I hope I don't. But but there was one time we were talking and I had this recording in my pocket there, and then she came to me and she goes, it's your fault I ever cheated on you. Who wouldn't cheat on you? Who
Oh,
wouldn't?
wow.
And it's literally her exact words. Who wouldn't cheat on you? And I used to be such a nice girl after growing up the way I did, and look what you turned me into. I'm sitting there. What? Wait. What I turned you in? What?
Well,
What?
was
what
she saying you were physically neglectful, like not snuggling or
um.
holding her
No.
hand?
Her reasons were Lonnie sitting on my desk 20 years earlier. The other thing was, I mentioned this in the last one. My big demon was prescription medication abuse when I had to get away, type of a thing.
Right.
And that's not okay. That is my fault. I'm responsible. I'm an idiot for it. I caused pain in my family, and I'm sorry. And I'm in therapy, or was in therapy, and I'm clean from it now. But that caused problems, and I'm responsible for that. I have my demons, and you know, and I work on, I recognize them, work on them, try to stop them, hope they never happen again.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of us are struggling with different things. You know, and just because, let's say you're a drinker, that doesn't mean you're a narcissist, or
Right, right.
struggling with either prescription or street drugs. There are times that you went down a path that you would like to change, and there are ways to do that. But the narcissists are like, screw you, I want to party, I want to sleep around, I want to do this, or nobody's going to find out. So it's a different mentality. Sometimes the same situation, drinking, drugs, whatever, but the mentality and the intent, like you said, the accountability, and even just once they are presented with, this is how it's causing harm to our children, or this or that they turn it around, and it's like, it's amazing how they turn it around. And it's like, no, stop and see. They don't want to hear what you have to say.
No, they don't. And it was interesting. Like a few years ago, I wanted to drive for Uber, just because I went down to Salt Lake so often, and I'm thinking this may be good, make some extra cash. And when I told my wife that, she goes, no, I don't want you to do that, because what if a hot girl gets in your car and you end up getting romantic with her or something like that?
That's why I order Uber.
And so anyway, I was like, well, that ain't going to happen, but I respect you. So because you asked me not to do that, I won't do that.
That's a good husband. That is a really good husband. Now, how would you have handled it though? If that was your only job, nobody's hiring, or you don't get your paycheck, you only get paid once a month, and you needed the money, and your wife is like, look, what if some pretty girl tries to get in your car, and you're like, look, you got to trust me. And she's like, I don't know if I can. How would you handle that?
I would probably just still remember the promise that I made her.
Right.
I said no, and I won't. But then, I not long after, I found out she's been, riding alone in cars with her lovers, in fact, during that time. And I'm like, why does the standard only apply to me? Right. I mean, first of all, I'm not riding in cars with lovers. I'm giving people rides while they sit in the back wherever they want to go, and we ain't touching.
Right.
But you're sitting in your car with lovers going to motels. I mean, it's just.
How is she meeting? Just pretty much everyone has been connected to you, or is she meeting other people like on dating apps or out?
No, she goes to the casino, the nearby casino often, and meets.
Does she drink there? I know, I believe, do they give you, do they give you free alcohol or not?
They do, but she doesn't drink as far as I know. I mean, I've never,
okay.
Yeah, I really don't think she does. I think that's one thing she's able to avoid.
So do you think she's looking for a sugar daddy? And
she's always, that always.
Does she wear her wedding ring?
No, she doesn't.
How long's it been since she's worn it?
I don't know. I really don't.
Do you wear yours?
No, I don't actually. She took it and I don't know where it is. So
were you okay with her taking it?
No, I didn't know she did. I took it off when I took a shower, and then it came back, it was gone.
See, that's the thing though. I mean, there are times it's like, if you want to hold on to it, if that has sentimental meaning to you, even if you don't wear it, but that's technically yours.
Yeah, it is. But
because I'm sure with a marital property, you split things, but I mean, that's your ring. Right. That should be yours to either pawn or keep or whatever.
Right. Yeah. If the divorce, the thing is, in this state, in Utah, it's an equitable property state. A lot of states like California is a marital property state, 50-50 pretty much. Utah is an equitable property state, which means who deserves more. And one of the biggest issues that they look at is adultery. And also not only adultery, but anything worse than that, several adulteries. Anything worse than that, getting
Multiple.
pregnant, getting
Oh,
pregnant to one of those.
okay.
And all of those and all of those and all of those have happened. Now, uh, I'm like, what do you have on me that I abuse Xanax? Is that really you're gonna stand in court and say, well, I only cheated because I mean, the judge will laugh their asses off at her, like, okay, Mr. Fisher, are you taking therapy for it? Are you done? Yes, yes, and yes. Okay, so ma'am, are you taking therapy for your sexual addiction and gambling addiction? And what? I don't even have one.
And
That,
the thing that's sad though and scary is like with sexual addictions with multiple people is it can affect your health.
oh, she's given me 2 STDs, and that's embarrassing to say, but
I appreciate your honesty, but people need to hear that,
yeah,
you
yeah, and
know?
which would actually help in court too, although it's embarrassing. They're both curable, so and they have been cured, and they were a few years ago. I haven't slept with her in 3 years.
Right.
Um, but yeah, she gave me 2 STDs, and I, which I would have gotten before. But that is what that is. Gosh.
And when you talk to her about it, did she deny it or did she tell you you were sleeping with somebody else to have gotten that? Or was she like, yeah, I did give that to you?
She admits to giving those to me. However, she has told me within the last year or so that she believes that I have cheated on her. And I stopped her. I said, "Hold on." And this is how I said it almost verbatim. I said, "Hold on. You are not going to write my narrative for me. You're not writing my story for me." I said, "I know I'm an idiot. I've done stupid things. There's very few things I'm proud of in my life. But if there's one thing I can say I'm proud of, I have never cheated on you. Never have I betrayed you. And I don't give a shit what you do with that truth as long as you hear the truth. Okay? So can you do that to me? No, you can't. But I can do that to you. Okay? And I just, it kind of shuts her up a little bit because she knows I'm dead serious and I'm not going to put up with that
Now,
accusation.
when you discuss a divorce, was it like, oh babe, no, let's work this out? Or was she like, well, fuck you then? Or how did she react to, or did
When
she
she's
bring it up?
when she's mad, she's brought up a divorce for 20 years, and I don't give a shit anymore. I just,
Yeah, they push you to a point where it's like, whatever. I know there's some that still long to be with their narcissist, but there's times after so much abuse too that you're like, whoa.
I just
Yeah.
can't take it anymore. And it is happening. So it just hasn't happened yet. I mean, like I said, we haven't had sex in 3 years. It's kind of a big house, so we don't even live anywhere near each other within it. Um, Hardly see each other type of thing. But so that's where that's where I am right now.
So moving forward, have you like stopped sending stuff to her sister or are
Well, the
those,
most recent one we sent was 2 weeks ago. And that's when I discovered that one of the recipients was the
oh, that was
piece of.
just 2 weeks ago that you
Yeah,
found
that was
on
2 weeks
that?
ago. That's when the shipping company called me and said, these 2 recipients are waiting for it, and one of them was the asshole's brother or sister, from that she's been sleeping with. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding? No.
Right. Have you separated your bank accounts or is it possible she could take all your savings?
I yeah, I have slowly moved one she has no idea about.
Yeah, be careful on that because she sounds like she'll either ship a bunch of stuff away so she can get it later or drain your bank account.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's she's always been one step ahead of me, cleverly, streetwise. Always, because I'm just too naive, too trusting.
So what
Believe.
is the lesson that you've learned in this situation? Sometimes these situations are meant to teach us a lesson.
Oh man, well, I think that this is irrevocable. I mean, no, it's past any redemption. Rather, I think. you know, and it's in, but let me add something to that. I don't, I'm there to where I don't want any redemption anymore. I want to be with a woman who loves me. You know, I really do. I want to be with a woman who loves me. And I want to be with somebody who's going to support me emotionally and mentally, you know, and look up to me. And just as much as I look up to her, and she'll be my queen, I'll do anything for her. I mean, I clean the house, I do the, you know, dishes, the laundry, fold things, sweep, mop. I do everything. You know, I even cook, and I just, it's just me. I'm not better than you. It's just me. I'm used to do. I don't mind. I like it.
Right.
You know, and
And this is
I
one thing that you might want to think about. Sometimes we have to learn that when we do everything for other people, that they start taking advantage of that, or they start expecting it, and
I was going to say an
they're not
expectation.
investing. So they're not investing. And if they don't invest, they're not going to have the same kind of pride or motivation. And like, that's a lucky catch to have somebody who pays the bills and does the dishes and all those wonderful things. But one lesson I hope we learn, who needs to, is that if we step back, even though it's outside our character, that allows them to invest in us, and that helps the bond, as opposed to it being like, you know, going to a bed and breakfast where it's like, oh, everything's taken care of, and you know.
Yeah.
And that's hard, because a lot of times we're like, I want to be the perfect husband, the perfect wife, and I'll make sure everything's perfect, you know, but then they just don't appreciate it as much.
Yeah, that's in. I know she doesn't. I mean, I know she doesn't. It's all expectations. You know, the I'll just do because, like, for example, this morning she slept in, and I work from home, so you know, I do things from home. Still looking for a more permanent job, but anyway, you know, I get my daughter up to go to drive her to third grade to school. You know, and my wife is still sleeping, but I get her up, get her food, change her clothes, get her ready, make sure she's happy, and pray with her and stuff like that, you know, and you know, I just I I but she expects that. If I didn't do it,
Yeah.
it wouldn't get done. You know, she would not take my place and get up. She would wake up and
And she
say,
doesn't know how hard it
you do
is.
it. Yeah,
She
I
doesn't know
mean,
how hard it is because she's not doing it.
right, yeah, right.
Just like doing cartwheels or backflips, it looks easy. Oh, I tried doing it. Until you try it, you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's just kind of skating by and putting a lot of pressure on you. So
Ah,
in the future, allow people to invest in you. And I've had to do that. Like, I'm always the one calling, I'm always the one driving. And when you back off, it'll either show you who's invested in you as well. It'll give that person an opportunity to invest, you know, and then you give back, you know. But it's a new balance I've had to learn. And it's
yeah,
something that might help you too.
yeah, absolutely. Oh man. Oh, it says my battery's running low. I didn't know that. But no, thank you. This is great, Cynthia.
And
This
whenever
really
you'd like to
helps.
come back, we'd love to have you again.
Okay, we'll keep in touch this next week because you know,
Yeah, whenever
there's
you're
so much
ready.
more. I mean, it's just. But like I said, I watched last week's podcast, and I wanted to make sure it was more, you know, confident and coherent this time. You know,
You're
I
doing
just
great.
want to
It
improve
gets
on it.
emotional. Like
It
our
was a
my
lot more.
viewers understand that it's emotional. You've been very honest and open, and I know that's refreshing to the subscribers that I have. So thank you very much. I do have a series where you guys can watch Dave Fisher and his journey, his healing journey. Thank you so much. One more time, a man can be a victim too on TikTok. He's
Yes,
got that
please.
link to his GoFundMe. Dave will be in touch, and whenever you're ready, we'd love to have you back.
All right. Thank you so much, Cynthia. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night.
Take care. Thanks.
You too. Bye-bye.